When leaving Duluth, it's always thrilling to see the lift bridge go up.
Wow, this is pretty exciting, I have to say.
We had asked for 70 feet of clearance. Our mast, with the antenna, is just about 50 feet, but it never hurts to have ample space when going under a bridge. 15 minutes earlier, at 8:25 a.m., we had requested a bottom of the hour opening of the lift bridge. We were bound for Silver Bay, about 50 nautical miles up Minnesota's north shore towards the northeast. The weather forecast was for light air due to a persistent high-pressure system, so we knew we would have to rely on our diesel engine to get us to our destination. Our course would take us parallel to the coast. We looked forward to it. It had been a while since we last passed this way. With the main and jib topsail up, a light breeze eventually filled in and gave us a gentle assist, and we passed the busy shipping port of Two Harbors about 1 p.m. The North Shore is a ridge of bluffs, tall hills, and small mountains. Some of them are quite spectacular, and one of the most famous is Split Rock with its famous lighthouse. We diverted from our course to take a closer look. It was built in 1910 and is one of the most photographed lighthouses in the United States. It's also popular with artists and has even been the subject of a U.S. postal stamp. On this particular day, we were not the only ones to enjoy the lighthouse from the lake. A small plane circled overhead while we admired this spectacular scenery.
That was exciting! Oh my God! That was so exciting! What a first day of our real vacation.
Freelance finally arrived at Silver Bay's Marina at 4:30. We intended to stay there until some spare parts would be delivered. With the parts on board and working, we left the marina 2 days later. It was early afternoon, but we only had about 20 nautical miles to Taconite Harbor, where we hoped to snag one of the free mooring balls for the night. Unfortunately, it was another day of light air from the northeast. We again had to use a diesel engine to take us up the coast. On this stretch, we were followed by one of our buddy boats, the Annie B. Stone, which we have sailed in company with on Lake Superior, Lake Huron, and Lake Michigan. This time, our plan was to cruise Isle Royale together, but first we had to get there. Among the sights along this sector of the shore are the cliffs at Palisade Head. Formed over 1 billion years ago by lava, its highest point is 300 feet above the lake, and its sheer cliffs are, of course, very popular with the rock climbers. The miles steadily fell behind us, and at 6:45, we were securely rafted together with the Annie B. Stone at Taconite Harbor. At dawn, we separated our raft and left the harbor of Refuge. It was a beautiful morning. Our course would gradually take us offshore, away from the Sawtooth Mountains and directly towards the Isle Royale National Park. We had over 60 nautical miles to go to our first waypoint. Sadly, the Annie B. Stone soon had to turn back. Nelson and Marilyn had realized that the alternator wasn't charging the batteries, making it necessary for them to return to Silver Bay for repairs. We kept on our course under power, but hoped they would eventually join us at Windigo.
Not a great sailing day. Flat I say.
We could only hope for favorable winds, but it didn't look like we would have much of a chance to use our sails. At least we would have a comfortable passage. Hal, our autopilot, was holding us tight on our GPS track, while we kept a lookout and did some needed boat chores. At 11:30, some isolated weather cells with very heavy cloudbursts passed behind Freelance. They had come from the west, over the small mountain range, and then reacted with a cold lake. Strangely, they did not bring us any wind. A little later, some similar cells were ahead. They were just as dramatic and also without any winds. It was all very unusual. I don't think we have ever seen anything quite like it before on the lake. Regardless, there was no way we could avoid the rain. It fell heavily, so we were quite happy to be well protected by our Dodger and Bimini. At 12:30, the sky started to clear. We had hoped some wind would follow the rain. It didn't happen. Instead, we had to keep going towards Isle Royale under engine power. There are, of course, worse things than that. We have often enough had to beat to windward here in cold, cold northeasters. The tall ridges of Isle Royale were on the horizon about 3:30, and Vicky soon spotted the Rock of Ages Lighthouse.
It's Rock of Ages.
The light is a 137-foot tall white tower perched on a tiny rock about 2 miles west of Isle Royale. This area is extremely dangerous to shipping because the reefs reach up from over 100 feet to virtually nothing in a few seconds. Consequently, there are several wrecks in the vicinity. We stayed well to the north of the reefs and now headed towards the approaches to the North Gap. When we got nearer, the seas again turned completely flat, and we soon made our turn into the channel between Thompson Island and the main body of Isle Royale. It's an easy entry into Washington Harbor, but the North Gap is also known for the wreck of the SS America. The 184-foot packet steamer struck a reef here in 1928 and sank. Everybody got off the ship safely. In the 1960s, an effort was made to race it to put it back in service, but someone blew its bottom out with dynamite, forever keeping it as a dive site. When we entered Washington Harbor, we turned northeast towards Windigo. Vicky took the helm while I rigged the dock lines and fenders, but we still had 3 miles to go. Washington Harbor is a deep fjord, and Windigo, where the National Park Service has one of its main arrival and visitor centers, is at its end, which is somewhat protected behind Beaver Island. Our friends Dwayne and Ma of the power cruiser Innisfree were waiting for us at the dock. They had already told us on the VHF that there was ample space for Freelance. We looked forward to seeing them and again exploring the wilderness of Areal Royale National Park, beginning at Windigo.